other women and we're looking at what they're doing and what they're accomplishing, and we're looking at what we're not doing. Like we're looking at them, at what they're doing as a mom, or what they're doing as a business owner, or what they're doing, with their life, with their gifts and their talents. And then we sit back, and instead of looking at what we've accomplished, we look at what we're not doing. And then we start, I think comparison, and then you can tell me what you think. I think comparison puts us in a shaming state, and we start shaming ourselves, not just comparing, but then shaming. So I think that adds another element into that game when we start playing. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we definitely start shaming ourselves because we're like, well, we're not doing what she's doing,
Right.
or we don't look like she or, or we even hold ourselves back from doing certain things because we don't look a certain way, that we don't fit that mold. And I think the main thing that I always think about is a mom told me one time, and I think all of us can relate to this, especially after having kids, because after having kids, things change, your body starts changing.
Never goes back.
It never goes back to the same exact way. Things are a little bit different, but
it all looks different. Yes.
All looks different. So, I mean, I can remember a mom telling me she just didn't want to go to the beach, or she didn't want to go to the pool because, she didn't want to get into her bathing suit. And it wasn't so much about what she looked like to herself. It was what she looked like to somebody else. And she was comparing herself to these other people, at the pool. And, you can't help but just think, I mean, gosh, she's missing out on so much. And I think all of us miss out on so much whenever we compare ourselves. Yeah. I know I compare myself. The biggest thing right now that I compare myself with is business. Mm-hmm. I'll see people online and I'm like, how is she doing that? How is, but I don't see what's going on behind closed doors. I don't see what she struggles with. I don't see what her everyday life is. And she makes it look easy, but I mean, you want to make it look easy to an extent. That's her job. But in the same sense, this is why I love Instagram stories. Have you gotten into Instagram stories yet?
I'm getting better. I'm getting there.
That's why I love getting into Instagram stories, because I can show the back end of what really goes down,
Yeah, the behind the scenes, yeah.
And I'm just going to show you this because Instagram, I love Instagram. But whenever you go to my profile, see if you can see it there.
Tilt it.
Tilt it.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Tilt it.
It looks so pretty, doesn't it? It looks so pretty. I do that on purpose. I mean, because I want people to go, oh, those are pretty pictures, but that's not showing what's behind the scenes. Behind the scenes is a hot mess. Even right now, I'm wearing my workout pants.
Got my mucky pajama pants on for all of you to know.
I mean, so you are who you are, and it's not worth comparing all the time. You miss out on so much of the journey too, I think. Yeah. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. And when you're talking about the story with the lady in her swimsuit not wanting to go, well, so I fall into this trap a lot. This is one of the ones that I struggle with. And even in my life, I mean, I did have an eating disorder because I tried so hard to look perfect and look just right, or whatever. And I still find myself struggling with that. So Sunday, the girls, our daughters, wanted to go to the aquatic center. And so I convinced my husband, it's Father's Day, you should spend time with your kids at the aquatic center with the rest of Coleman, Alabama. And so we went. But I put on, I kid you not, 3 different swimsuits. 3 different ones, because I was like, no, I look like this, or this is showing weird, or this is going to look weird, or when I walk by, what are they going to think? And so I was so caught up in that. It took me probably 30 minutes while we were at the pool to just chill out and get over it and realize nobody is looking at me. They are here to have fun with their family, just like I'm here to have fun with my family. But I was so caught up in comparing myself, like you were talking about, that I missed out on part of the fun. on part of the journey, you know, and even my 4-year-old, Allie Grace, she was sitting there eating Sour Patch Kids. I mean, you know, that was their supper, I feel like. But she was like, Mommy, this is the best day ever.
Aww.
And I looked at her and I was like, this has been a great day. And I missed part of it because I was comparing what I looked like for no reason. There was no reason to do that. But comparison just gets you wound up and wound tight. And so I compare myself a lot in that way. And I even compare myself just like with our, you know, God has given all of us different gifts and talents. And so I will take mine and I'll compare to what other people are doing. And that's not how the body works. I mean, just like we have arms and we have legs and we have eyes and a nose for a reason, we're not all gifted the same way. And so God wants me to use my gifts and work on my talents instead of looking at, well, this is what she's doing, this is what I should do. That's not what God created me to do. So those are what I, at the end of the day, when I'm by myself, that's what I struggle with. Those things. I still struggle with those things.
It's kind of like you lose your voice. You lose your identity whenever you're comparing yourself or whenever you're wanting or you're trying to be somebody else or something. You lose your identity. You lose your value. And, you know, I'm talking about business here, but I did that, especially at the beginning of business, trying to be, well, this is working for her, so it must work for me. But then I lost a lot of my readers on my blog. I lost a lot because I wasn't Mandy anymore.
Right.
It wasn't my voice. It was somebody else's. And I was just trying to duplicate or do something and compare myself constantly. So you lose that sense. So why is the comparison game so dangerous? And it's kind of like we just said. I mean, there's so many reasons why it can be dangerous. First of all, I mean, your self-confidence. You know, everybody's at different stages in their life, and you can't compare apples to oranges either. You know, everybody's behind the scenes and family life and their bodies and everything just looks different. And for everybody, it's different. So I know with me, it has made my self-esteem go down at times. And then you've got to, you just got to reevaluate everything and go, scratch that. That may work for her, but it's not going to work for me. And I can't compare apples to oranges. But it's hard to get out of that state. Seriously.
It is hard. And I think, I mean, if we think about it, if we just sit and think for just a minute, I mean, there are, 7 or 8 billion people on this earth. And not one looks the same. Not one has the same fingerprint. Nobody is the same. And so, you know, the Bible tells us that God knitted us together. And so if he took the time to make billions of different people, there's a reason for it.
Right.
There is a reason for it. And so, you know, it's dangerous, I think, because we put ourselves in the God role.
Yeah.
I think I do that. We kind of be like, I know better than you do, God. So, and it's not a good place to be because like you said, I mean, and amen, you know, our self-confidence is just shot. I mean, it's gone because we're not embracing who he made us to be. It's like, I have found myself sometimes, I think, saying, you messed up when he didn't mess up. He did not mess up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let me tell you, God, how to do your job. I mean, that is just insane.
I never really thought about that. I mean, you're telling him, hey, you messed up. What did you
Yeah.
messed up? You're messing up right now. No, I'm kidding. But
oh man. But it does. I mean, and it comparison, it freezes you. It makes you stop. It makes you stop living your life.
Yeah.
And what do we miss out on? Because we stop living. We stop living. We stop doing what we were created to do.
Right. And like you said, you were missing out a little bit with your kids and
about
a big chunk of my business for a couple of months because I was trying to do what other people were doing. And, we all live and learn from those things, and I found myself comparing, not even thinking about it. And then later on, I'll go back and go, what did I do that for?
Right.
I was talking to Karis yesterday because I did a hard workout yesterday. And of course I was thinking, why do I do this to myself every Monday morning? But anyway, and so of course the video, chose to do a video yesterday, and I was like, why? And I found myself getting mad at the girl that was teaching the class because she's like this big around, and I was comparing, and I was like, why is she even doing this video anyway? I was so mad, but I didn't realize until afterwards. It's like, Mandy, you're comparing apples to oranges. I mean, of course, I was just mad because my butt was on fire too. Right. But we find ourselves comparing in different places, and no matter where we've been or where we've come from or what we're going through at that moment, you still fall into that trap. And it's an everyday process of trying to, deliver yourself out of it. I mean, just like overcoming something, you're going to overcome it every day. I mean, it's just going to be an ongoing thing. So comparison's the same way, but it's a good thing whenever you catch it and you're like, especially if it's in the middle of it, and go, no, I'm not doing that. I didn't catch it until afterwards, which I wish I would have caught it in the middle. But I mean, at least whenever you catch it and what you're doing, then,
Yeah.
And that, I guess that kind of brings us, so what do we do about it? When you find yourself comparing to other people, as you go through your journey and you start really, really working on yourself and really taking a lot of time for yourself and self-care, I think it comes. You stop comparing as much, or you stop in the middle of it, or you notice what you're doing whenever you're doing it, but I would really have to say it comes with self-care first, doesn't it? Wouldn't you say? I mean, you really got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to stop looking at others.
Right.
Because you can't take care of yourself if you're so busy and so wrapped up in what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just no way you can do that. I was reading this yesterday. I don't know if you've read this. Anybody, if y'all read this before, I've never read this verse. It's Galatians 6, 4, and 5. Each of you should test your own actions. Then you can take pride in yourself alone without comparing yourself to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Right. And I read that and I was like, wow. Step back, take pride in yourself without comparing yourself, and each one should carry their own load. And it was like the Lord kind of said to me, what your load is laying over there on the ground. What have you left? Right. What have you left? All this that I have created you for is laying over there on the ground because you're watching all these other people with their load. And you know what? They could in turn be watching you and watching me carry our load. And what are you leaving on the ground because we're so caught up in watching other people.
Right.
And I think, that's where the enemy wants us, because he knows if we're so caught up in comparing, we're not going to be busy doing what we were created to do. And he knows that if you do what you're created to do, you're going to be dangerous because you're going to be impacting life. You're going to be impacting tons of people around you. So, I think maybe we should step back today and say, you know what? Maybe I should write down all that God has allowed me to do. What have I accomplished in my life? And give ourselves a pat on the back to say, look at what I've done. And there's still a load over here that God has for me to carry. So I think that's one thing that can help us. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. And again, that's self-care, taking care of yourself. And yeah, absolutely. And that verse kind of reminds me of, this isn't the topic at hand, but it kind of reminds you not to judge others because you got to carry your own load, sister.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right.
so it kind of goes with, it kind of goes over there too, because it makes you stop and think, because we all find ourselves in that situation sometimes. So I agree. It's kind of like just count your blessings.
Count your blessings. Be thankful.
Be thankful. And go ahead.
I was going to say, and give yourself some grace.
Yes.
You know what? I think we're our own worst critic. I know I am. Oh my goodness. I can find every flaw that you could ever imagine. I think we're our own worst critic. I think we need to step back and just give ourselves some grace. We're human. We're not perfect. I mean, and I think we demand perfection from ourselves when even God, I mean, he knew we were not perfect and we needed help. So I think pride, that's another thing, swallowing our pride. Whew, that's a hard one for me.
We all have pride, and sometimes we don't even realize. Yeah, we all do.
And just, letting pride, if we could let go of pride, how much further would we all be working together?
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. I mean, think about it. Seriously. Yeah. So, I mean, seriously, comparison goes over into so many different avenues. And it's just like this hub where all of these issues come from. And, it consumes your brain, and it consumes you. It starts worry, and it starts fear, and it starts all those things that can just escalate into other, like anxiety, depression. And it's no place to be and no place to live. And it's very hard. Once you get deep into it, it's hard to come out. But that's where that self-care, reading the word, really start, and I had a client actually just the other day. I got her to do this. And then I also put it in one of my groups, I think too. I told her, I said, really sit down and write down everything that you're thankful for and focus on one of those things today. Just one thing that day, and think about what you could do to better that one thing, or, just sit and meditate with it and pray on it in that one thing. And I found myself in points of my life where it was hard for me. But I would I don't know if any of you have read my blogs or watched my lives, but I love, and of course I can't find any right now. Oh, sticky notes. I have sticky notes everywhere in my house. And I will take them and put Bible verses on them, or just a reminder of what I should be grateful for. So every day she went and she wrote what she was grateful for. She plastered it all over the place. And so when she would get into that negative thinking, that stinking thinking that we all get into, she was shown this one thing that she was grateful for. And honestly, there are days where I need to go back and do that too, and take my own advice. And I kind of forget about that, because you just fall into that trap, and that you're just the trap of thinking about it constantly, and it consumes you. And then just like if you replay a conversation in your brain of something, a little confrontation, but it could be something so minor, but 3 hours later in your brain, it was a knockdown, drag out fight where you were punching each other in parking lot. I don't know, but it's escalated in your brain, and that's what you start doing. So that's what comparison does too. And it's just hard. So so we challenge you today, or this week, for the rest of the week, to just walk in gratefulness. When you start seeing those things pop up, reach for one of those sticky notes if you have to, and be reminded of what you're grateful for, and really meditate and pray on that instead of meditating on the negative, and the comparison part of it, so
change the voices that you're hearing in your head, replace it. That's one thing that I, when I journal, I'll find when I was because I did allow comparison leading into a dangerous place, I had to change what I was hearing. and change what I was saying to myself, instead of saying, you're not good enough for this, or you can't do that. I'd have to change it and say, well,
right.
I was created for a purpose. I can do this, with God's help, I can do this. I have been fearfully and wonderfully made. And like you're saying, even with the sticky notes, putting that stuff everywhere. And once you change what you say, you change what you hear, you're changing your environment, then I think we can get pulled out of that comparison game. And maybe sometimes you got to change who you hang out with.
Yes.
So,
yes.
your friends, who are your friends, and sometimes you got to change your environment and change those people that you are letting speak into your life. It's okay to put up a boundary and change that, and love from a distance.
So powerful. Words are powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can still hear what people said to me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, words they have an everlasting effect on you. So changing all that and just even, when you're being thankful and having gratitude, ask God to give you an opportunity to help somebody else. That's something that helps me. When I stop focusing on myself and I'm like, okay, if I get too inward and I'm looking so negatively at myself, and I just say, who can I help today?
Right.
Who can I encourage today?
Mm-hmm.
And if we are taking care of ourselves and encouraging each other,
right.
That would look completely different.
Right. Yeah. And I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but, I was going to say too, this week too, go through your social media.
Yeah.
Because, y'all, this thing is so powerful. And, there is nothing wrong with blocking and releasing. If you watched any of my lives or read my blog, that is one of the number one tips that I've ever given is, block and release. Yeah. Love and release. You just got to let go sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that person is spewing negativity all over the place, you just don't need it. Just hit the unfollow button, unfriend them, block them, do whatever you got to do. If they trigger you, and you're playing that comparison game with them, and it's only in your brain, they have no idea what's going on. Just hit the unfollow button for a season. That's it. And then in a couple of months, whenever you kind of have gotten over that comparison game with them, flip them back. And they don't have to know. This is about you. And I think a lot of times, us women, especially with social media, we're like, oh God, I don't want them to know that I unfriended them. But seriously, who are you hurting more than anything? You're hurting yourself, because if you're being triggered by them, by comparing yourself to them, no, it's not their issue, but you got to get past the issue. So if that's the only way that you can get past the issue, sister, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just do it. I've had to block and release. There have been people that have been ugly to me, so I block and release. Those aren't as hard to do, but the ones that don't realize that you're playing that comparison game, they don't have to know. They really don't.
Yeah.
It's your health. It's your health.
Yeah.
Seriously, your mental health. And what you see on Facebook, what you see on Instagram, all of that is not, yes, it's their real life.
Right.
But that selfie that they took was probably like the 100th selfie that they took.
Oh, absolutely.
And
it may have a filter on there also. So,
Or that food that they're eating that looks so fabulous. Like my blog pics that I use, or Instagram picture, that is like the 1,000th picture that I've taken, So you can't compare that to yourself. You seriously can't. I think social media is the best thing in the world, but then again, it can be the worst too.
It can be the devil's playground.
Yes, it can be. Yeah. So use it wisely. You're in control of your Facebook page, of your Instagram page, of your Pinterest. You're in control.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. If they've got a problem with you letting them go and they find out about it, so be it.
I will. Yeah.
But and you got to think about it like that. It's your mental stability. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it at the time. So yeah. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I totally agree. I know I've had to take breaks from social media. I've had to fast, from social media, to just because we allow ourselves to get so consumed with what are they posting, what are they doing, what is it that they're up to, that we stop living our life. We stop carrying our own load. Because we spend, I've sat down and done it before. I'll sit down and just want to scroll through Facebook or Instagram, and an hour later, I'm still sitting there doing this number, and what, how is that helpful? How is that, helping myself? How is that helping other people? How is that adding value? So, I think we have to be smart about our social media. And, if we want to tell teenagers and college age students and even preteens, be careful about social media. Well, hey, adults, be careful about social media.
Yeah, right.
That goes for us too, because what we post, this is for all of us. It's our highlight reel. It's not our behind the scenes. And maybe we should start posting our behind the scenes, our mess, to say, hey, this is real life. These are my kids screaming, and this is my house is a mess. And this meal turned into whatever. Or, here are my monkey pants. Here they are. You see them? Just like,
it is so funny, because now once I really flip my blog and my business around to being like, okay, I'm a real person.
Real.
This is going to be real. And every time I go to post something that is so real, something goes so wrong.
Yeah.
It always does, but it makes it even more real. So,
yes.
And, I struggle with that. I struggle with a lot of that, with Facebook, especially, we all do. So just bless and release.
Let it go. Comparison mask off. Take it off.
Just let it go. So the comparison game. All right. So are we ready? Let's see if anybody is on, so we can take questions really fast. All right, let me see. Oh, y'all been writing. Angie says, yay. Oh, I love it.
Hey, Angie.
Candace, will this be available for me to watch in a little bit? I hope so. Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be the page that you are on right now, so you can watch it. And then we're also going to put it up on websites, on YouTube. Send it an email, all this kind of stuff. Becky, hey, Becky. Becky says, so good. Angie says, yes, ouch, putting myself in the God role. Yes, it's so stinking hard. And Kristen says, hugs to you. Oh, hey, Kristen, hugs to you too, my friend. I saw some more, and now I can't get it to scroll down. Let's see if we can. Do you see any more? Are you seeing?
I was looking to see.
Grace says, we all have a role to play in this world and in God's plan. No one is perfect, but joy comes from knowing that God made you the way you are. We as women struggle with the comparison game. Our focus has to become loving ourselves and loving others, lift each other up. Yeah, exactly. Taking care of yourself. And then like Kara said, you go inward, well, go outward and see what you can do to help somebody else. And on that note, that's exactly why Karis and I do this.
Yeah.
Because we struggle just like y'all do with all of this stuff. And, I have a hard time on social media. Y'all probably don't realize it because I post quite a bit, but I do it to encourage others. And I do it because I'm struggling with the same thing. Usually if I post a meme, I'm struggling with it too at the time, or I just came out of it. So, just like with that Facebook and social media stuff, you gotta have to have a happy medium with it. But Yeah, it's just, you've got to focus more on others. And honestly, that's why kind of like this was birthed a little bit. We've been there, we've done that. We may be a couple of steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
You know, but we've been there. We know how you feel. And we may go back into that place tomorrow too. Just like I said, every time you overcome something, you're going to overcome it every day. It doesn't mean you're not going to struggle with it ever again. I mean, this is life. So, you know, it's part of taking off that mask and encouraging and being real.
Being real. The more real we can be, the less room there'll be for comparison.
And the less room there'll be for anxiety, depression, because especially women put so much pressure on ourselves to compare, and we're comparing apples to oranges. I mean, I have no room to even compare with Karis. Karis has no room to compare with me because we're at totally different places in our journey. We have the same values. We have the same, you know, a lot of the same things, but still her everyday looks different than mine. So I can't compare that. You know?
So, and I have to carry my load, and you have to carry your load. And when we're all doing what we were created to do, carrying our load, there's no time to compare.
Right.
Because we're being busy about what we were created to do, our purpose to do.
Right. Well, I think that is all the questions we have for today. So thank y'all so much for being here. And we will be back in 2 weeks. That is on, sorry guys, actually on the 4th. So yeah, we will be back, and we may be switching some things up here pretty soon. But for right now, you can find the podcast here on our pages. Also, if you would like to join the group, The Purposeful Woman, like I said, if you have purpose and you're a woman, you seriously need to be there. You'll get health tips. You'll get, just
encouragement and everything.
Just go. It's just cool. It's awesome. And we have a good sisterhood there. I mean, everybody very sweet. So yeah. So thank y'all for being here. And we're so glad that you tuned in. And if you're catching the replay, please make sure that you comment, because me and Karis love to go back and say hey to all of you. So until next time, we will see you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. Let me make sure that we're off.
Okay.
The live video has ended. Okay, good.
Yay.
Okay. Woo! All right. I think that one was good too. Don't you think?
I think it went good.
I think so too.
I thought that was really good.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yay.
I know.